Are you single and living your very best life? Girl, me too. Get in here and welcome to Empowered by Her Picket Fence. I'm Stephanie and I'm a single woman, a single mother, and a women's empowerment blogger. And it's time for us to come to the mic and let people know what's really good with single women. So go grab that latte because we're about to get into it. What's up, guys? Get in here because this week I have a very special episode. This episode is for all the single mothers out there, and we are going to be talking about the single mother stigma or the narrative around single mothers. As a single mother myself, it hits especially close, and I have a lot to say, so I can't wait to get into it with you guys. But before I do anything else, let me say this to all the single mothers out there. If you are holding it down, if you are getting your kids to school on time, if you are paying your bills and raising your little king or queen on your own, you are to be commended because you are amazing. You know, as single mothers, we put on that crown of accountability and responsibility, and we just get on with the business of raising good humans, don't we? No matter what anyone says, because single mothers are strong. Single mothers are tough because we've had to be. And single mothers are resilient. And we are raising great kids. And for me, that will always be my bottom line, no matter what anyone says. So, on that note, let's get into the topic of this week. And that is the fact that we, as single mothers, are always viewed through a lens of deficiency. Because there is a book that's making the rounds out there right now. And this book speaks to the privilege of having two parents in a household. And apparently, children of single parents don't have a chance. Well, you know what? I beg to differ. So let's go in. All right. So, motherhood. Motherhood is one of those things that many of us as young girls thought or even dreamed about. From the time we were very young, the idea of having a family was baked into the cake. We really thought it was going to happen for all of us, right? Well, guess what? That's not always the case. I think we're finding that out now. As the nuclear family continues to evolve, the decision to become a mother has become increasingly complex. The number of unmarried women is increasing. Women are waiting to get married, and some women are even deciding to have children on their own. So things have changed, haven't they? But sadly, the view of single mothers as not being enough to raise good children and good humans, good citizens, hasn't changed. So let me tell you my story. When I was around 30, I started to think, you know what? I would love to be a mother at some point in my life. Many of my friends were getting married and settling down, but that wasn't my story at the time. And this happens to be the case for many women. In society, we're told that things are supposed to happen in a certain order, right? You're supposed to get married and then have your baby. Then you guys buy a house together, white picket fence, and you get a dog. Like the whole narrative, right? You've heard it a million times. For me, I wasn't someone who had big aspirations to get married. And I wasn't the kind of person that was going to have bridal magazines on my coffee table. I just wasn't putting that much thought into it. And because things were supposed to happen in a certain order, I knew I wanted to be a mother, but not necessarily get married. And how's that work? It presented a quandary of sorts for me because in society, single mothers are almost never celebrated. Where do you go with that? When society has this view of single mothers that remains unchanged and the times have changed, what do you do when you know you want the baby carriage, but not necessarily the marriage? So the stigma that I'm speaking of is the continual devaluation of single mothers because what it does is it places an unnecessary burden on women who are actually considering motherhood but haven't met the right person yet. Before the baby even arrives, people quote statistics and they make parallels between the children that come out of single parent versus two parent homes. And I'm here to dispel the two parent home myth. The best parent is always going to be the involved parent or involved parents. You can have a two-parent household and no one's home or no one's involved. The best parenting is always going to be if you're able to be present and involved and love and support your child, whether you're doing it as a single or doing it as a married couple. I think this view of single mothers is antiquated, toxic, and harmful to our society. We as women, especially if you're in your 30s, we're being harangued constantly about our biological clocks ticking. And if you're in your 30s and you haven't met the right person, you are faced with a real issue. And when women do decide to move forward in a way that makes sense to them and maybe be a single mother to preserve their ability to procreate, they're judged harshly. I have friends who actually wanted kids, but were discouraged because they weren't with the right person. So guess what? They didn't have children. I have friends that have frozen their eggs and they are really hoping that they will meet the right person one day and unfreeze them. And my question to all of you is, should we continue to let society dictate whether we will ever be mothers based on an outdated norm? I say no. At some point for me, I realized that my timing and what I wanted for my life was at my discretion, and society has zero say. Why should I miss my one lifetime opportunity as a mother because my life doesn't look the same as everyone else's or other people? So I would like to say this to the single mothers out there. Society doesn't get to have the last word on your child's future. Our lives will never be reduced to a statistic. The love and support that we give to our children each and every day is our end game, and that is enough. We can choose to reject society's label. I say to single women, especially if you're in your 30s, think about if you want kids. And if you do, explore the avenues to achieving that. Also, ask yourself, do you believe you can provide your child a good life? Because if the answer is yes, then you should do that. And third, are you willing to let society dictate your life because things don't look the way they're supposed to? Are you going to let society determine whether you ever become a mother or not? So these are all important because society dictates so much already. So I have 3 empowerment moves for single mothers. 1, it's okay to be a party of one. So show up for all the recitals, even if you're there alone. Just support your child and keep it moving. Refuse to be disqualified by outdated norms. Number 2, love and quality time are king. So build your foundation for your child. That is the beginning and end game. And 3, go brave and continue to write your own script, because as long as you are setting your own milestones and loving and supporting your child, that's all that matters. Let me leave you with this. The best parent is a loving and involved one. Forget about the 2-parent myth, because toxic is toxic. And on that note, I'm going to move on to a very relevant girl, it's time to leave. Girl, it's time to leave. If he mistreats your children, that is an absolute no-go. If you mistreat my child, you're absolutely mistreating me. And that's a no-go, and it's a non-starter. He can't possibly love you. So in that case, girl, it's time to leave. All right, guys, meet me right back here next week. And don't forget to hit that follow button and leave a review. And tell all your friends, because the single girls just got the mic.